Hello, welcome back, everyone. We still in discussion with Dr. Bun Hua Liang about your preparation and what I mentioned on your prepare score, and I asked the question that you analyzed the whole body of your score before broadcast, because I see that the very spontaneous presentation, and we can follow every detail on that, even that unbox a new music. It's more or less like a review thing, to the a new creation. So you spend mm, much of time to prepare this, right?
Yeah, I do ask for the scores maybe in advance, and so it's not the first time I'm looking at it on the show, because
Mm.
sometimes there's a lot of details that will be
Even it called
missed.
unbox.
Yes, I know, even though it's unboxing, but it's also same with unboxing videos. I mean, they know the product already before they unboxed it.
Yeah.
And so but the one shortcoming I do see is that because we really only have maybe 10 minutes to talk about the piece, and in some ways, we cannot get really into much depth because just because of time constraints. And so again, my objective was to expose more than to go into depth and really have very, very deep discussion. And so I do prepare the score as much as possible, and have a feeling, or I have some questions about certain notation. But the main purpose is really just to give the audience a taste about this composer's music, and maybe kind of an introduction. And if they like what they hear, then they know who these composers are that they want to go deeper into.
And sometimes you invite the performer, like I follow that program, Max Reifer,
Yes,
to share his experience on the modern percussion music.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Um,
and very good response from the audience at that
yeah,
program. Mm,
and he talked a
mm,
little bit about the projects he was doing in Indonesia as well. And so I thought it's really wonderful to use this opportunity to kind of connect various regions in ASEAN together, and really letting each community find out about what the other community is doing. I think that's a very special part of doing this online.
Apart from Thailand, do you know that you have audience from other countries?
Uh, I think so. I mean, I have some friends who were also tuning in from even Europe and the US. And it's really kind of your friend, your network of friends from various places or tuning in. Again, it's difficult to see from the numbers. It's only there's only so much information I can get. There are analytics, obviously, but the purpose of my show, I mean, this is not to monetize. It's not a business. It's just a thing that I want to do, an educational venture that I want to do. So I didn't pay so much attention to that aspect of things.
Yeah, I asked because this is an advantage of using English as a medium of
Uh-huh.
communication. So the audience from other countries can follow your program. So I would like to ask back to Ajahn Pawasut and Ajahn Nipat, since we use our local language, I mean Thai language. Even myself, sometimes I invite the folk artists from Isan, so they speak their own accent, their own language. So I interview them without understanding completely. So because when we talk Ajahn Pawasut, and we talk Thai, like a urban language. So when you hear some words or some terms from the local artists, sometimes I have to ask. I don't have assistant, and I don't have a language and translator machine that clever enough to pick up the southern language, northern language, or northeast. Okay, we just forget it for a while. But how about running the program in Thai language? You see some goodness, or some difficulty, or whatever, some limitation. Ajahn Pawasut, maybe you want to share this.
Actually, we had two shows that were in English, well, more like bilingual.
Oh,
The first show that we had, it was with my friend from our DMA program at USC. His name is TJ Harper. He's now a director of choral activities at Loyola Marymount University in LA. I invited him to be our first guest, and we were talking about how to keep sense of purpose going during this time of COVID. So we were mostly talking about music students in the US, and we were hoping to learn something from them. That show was well, it was supposed to be bilingual, but then I got carried away and then I forgot to translate. But I have to remind myself that, have to translate. And the other show that was in English, it was with I love this show. It was with music students from
oh yeah,
yeah,
I
three
follow that program also.
three from
Very
Chulalongkorn
fun.
University music majors and four
Absolutely.
from Malaysia. So that one was in mostly bilingual. I translated a lot, and that show in particular, I asked the students to play something virtually and make a video and then send the videos in, and we played that in the show. It was technically very challenging for the admin because we had to do conversation in Zoom, and then we embedded Zoom into OBS so we can play the videos effectively because OBS yields the best audio and video, right? So we were trying to do that. So there were hiccups along the way, but it was a lot of fun. And
Mm-mm.
hearing students speaking of their experiences in from their perspective, that was enriching. It was really nice. But the rest of the shows were in Thai because I think because the majority of our audience is Thai people.
And
So
regular audience for the Chulalongkorn channel also. Yeah.
yes, so
Okay.
we try to reach them. Now the show, um, like Dr. Bun Holland and Dr. Nipat, they have their shows in their own expertise. Um, but my show, because I would really love to have like choral music show, but then this is under Office of Art and Cultural Management, so we have to be inclusive of other arts. So I was talking to Dr. Anotai last night in the show that I haven't done any one show about choral music. So, but we closed our season last night, but maybe next season I'll consider doing that. Yeah, but we would try to educate the audience in in a more subtle way. We try not to be too academic, and I would ask our guests not to use too that they could use terminologies, but then maybe like make it simpler or give definition a little bit just so the general audience can follow, because the target audience would be the Thai people.
Yeah. Ajahn Nipat,
Sure.
your program absolutely run in Thai, and
Yes.
they focus in very woodwind language.
Right. Right. Wind band language
In
or
band.
marching band language. Yeah.
Mm.
Use our spec very special vocabulary for them. But I still have some. I run my YouTube program on my name about conducting basic conducting and conducting exercise. I didn't realize that there are many foreigners follow my program as well. But I running program by using Thai language, and the folks from the USA, from China, from Singapore, friends of mine told me that could you add some English subtitle or Mandarin to to your program?
Mm.
I think it's hard time to add by myself because now I have to do many things. So I will try. Those are the thing that happened during the pandemics, and then the consequence make me more concerned about the communication on internet, through internet during this time.
Okay, yeah. Running live program with bilingual probably very challenging. I don't know Ajahn Notai is still with us or not because once in a while she quite suffer with helping me as a co-host to translate local language into English spontaneously. Would you like to join something? Share your experience with this bilingual. At once. Maybe we learn something from you also.
ค่ะ okay,
Uh,
so just
you still
very quickly.
remember that experience?
Yes, it was
Local
really
language.
fun. Huh. It was actually really fun, and I think that at first when Ajahn asked me to do a translation, I was just thinking of doing Thai into English. But we discovered at the end of the program that there are many other dialects, the northern, the southern, the northeastern, and it's actually I learned one thing that I understand more than I thought I would in
Mm.
some way, because music can really carries the meaning, and somehow you, when you have the heart, the open heart to understand those um, words that say through music, it's actually help. So maybe in the future, I guess that technology would catch up with us one day, that maybe some words and the ideas that music can already carries half the meaning, and then the spoken program, if we have other mediums, like in the future we might have a bit more time and have a little bit of kind of, not presentation slide, but some text, I guess OBS or those kind of games that you can convey other things rather than just talking. So that would help, and I think more and more in the future, people would have more ability, a flexibility to listen to the program that are not in their native language. You see all these youngsters that they watch all these Korean drama without understanding the words, and then one day
Yes.
they learn to talk the language. So that might as well happen.
Okay, thank you so much. And I still remember, you are on and off writing things. I still keep that program, and I want to post it on YouTube. But
I
we need a lot of
recommend
editing. Yes.
But I recommend you have.
Mm. Okay.
But I
Um,
recommend you have a lot of good sleep
mm. Ajahn Pawasut mentioned the program that facilitate live broadcasting. You mentioned the OBS, and you said this is so far the best program in your opinion for doing the live show. How about Dr. Bun Huling? Which program, which application that you use for broadcast your unboxing music?
I'm using Zoom actually because I felt Zoom was probably the most reliable in terms of having the music and also having the score. I've tried StreamYard, which is actually quite nice, but there was some problem with kind of the lag between. Uh, with StreamYard, you have to play the music from the web browser, and so that became a problem if I needed to do um, to show a score and then to do it on YouTube at the same time. So there were some problems. I've looked at OBS, but because my setup is actually very simple, and I'm really using the webcam from my computer, so I didn't have to go through OBS. I didn't have to go through different channels, and so I decided to keep it simple and just kept it on Zoom.
Yeah. How about Janipat? You use StreamYard, of course.
Yes. We have been using many applications for the conversation program. We use StreamYard. It's very compatible and then very easy to use. And for the program that I have, sometime I have to put some music or some score on it. I combination between between OBS and Zoom. That was very good.
Hmm. So it's look like for us who not run the studio live show not like a professional, studio or company, from home or from university. We try to access this thing through. Maybe I don't want to say simple or reliable, but at least we can connect our content to the audience, and then through Facebook or to YouTube. Can you share your experience for the audience from the YouTube channel or Facebook channel, their response to your program? Which one is maybe more successful or more effective, Facebook or YouTube audience?
From my point of view, first, if you do live on Facebook, there are more view than you write through any other application. How about the others?
Yes.
I think, please, after you.
Oh, thank you. It's for on Facebook for us as well, and we keep track of the number of the views, because we have to report to the office. So the average views on Facebook is 4,293 views. The maximum was 6,000 something, about 6,200, 60 to 100 views, and the least number of views was about 800, 900 views. Yeah, so, but a lot less on YouTube. But we would go, mostly we use StreamYard, and we go live on Facebook, and then after that we put video on YouTube channel later on. So I think it's easier for people to access on Facebook. So we have people who didn't join the live show, but then they came back and watched the recording on Facebook more than in YouTube.
And Dr. Bun Hua Lieng, please.
Yeah, I have the same experience too. I think with Facebook, it's much easier to get more exposure. It's partially also because I guess many of the audience are your friends and they know who this person is. Whereas on YouTube, one has to search for the content. And I believe the algorithms in Facebook, they favor live events. When you have a Facebook Live on your profile or on your professional page, usually that gets bumped up a little bit, so more people see it. Whereas on YouTube, the algorithms are quite different, and newer videos have a difficult time kind of breaking into the mold unless you already have an established following. But I like to put it on YouTube because it's kind of an evergreen thing. It will always be there. And with YouTube, the great thing is you can do kind of chapter indexing, so people can look at the whole video. I mean, 1 hour videos are usually, they don't rank so well in the algorithm because it's too long for them. And they much prefer 3 minutes of, like one very good advice or one very good comment. But with YouTube, you can do the indexing so people can go and read the questions they want to read. So I thought that's very, very helpful.
I suppose all of you are music educator, you're a teacher, you teach at the school, university, and you're supposed to do online teaching as well. How is it to compare with, the online teaching regular class or set class by your university, compare with your channel, your program, your talk program? How do you feel? Because I suppose that there are different kind of audience and different kind of approach using in your running program. Anyone can answer this.
Can I answer first?
Yes,
for
please.
me, for the music lesson, I mean principal instrument lesson, private lesson class, I prefer face-to-face lesson because we can communicate through the student, but we still keep the social physical distancing. But if we communicate through like a microphone, through the internet, For the time being, the internet speed is not support for us to communicate with the student through internet. 4G is not fast enough. Still have some problem about the delay. So I prefer face-to-face communication for private lesson class, even the conducting class.
But your university they announce the online class, and you have to do that.
The university policies is depend on what kind of subject, what kind of for example, music theory class, you can do online. But for the practice class, if I ask the permission from university, we can do hybrid, or either face-to-face or online class.
Right. All right. How about Ajahn Pawasut? You have to teach choral conducting online also.
Well, during that last semester, well, majority of my classes are practicum classes. I teach choir, I teach choral conducting, instrumental ensemble, and piano accompaniment. So all these classes ideally should be done on in person, right? But then I think we have to be careful, because all of us are from leading music programs. So whatever that we convey to the community, they would take a clue. Even in a few months later, after the peak of the pandemic in Thailand, we would have been able to put students together in a room and have them have lessons face to face. But then, like I said, whatever that we do, people would take a clue. They would see on the surface what we do, but they might not always go into detail and ask questions. What are the preparations that we have done before we get to this point that we do things in person? They would just see, oh, we do it face to face, so maybe it's safe. So I think we have to be really careful about that. And that was what I was trying to get everyone on board with me on this at the department. So we would have to teach ensemble classes online. I put all the students together in the same session, and then they would listen to other people playing. So they would hear mostly the interpretation, articulation, dynamics, and stuff like that. And then they could play along, turn off the mic and play along when their friends are playing. And then how we did it, finally, we have one person record videotape themselves playing, and then get approval, and then send to the next person, build their part on it, and then get approval, send to the third person. So at least, it's this instrumental ensemble, at least we were trying to get them to be able to hear the music, to listen to the music while they are playing, even though it's not a 100% effective as in person, but we were trying to do our best. And there was one session with Bandung Choral Society in Indonesia that they did virtual choir festival. I said, when you cannot have everything, you take anything. So this is the second best thing that we can do for the benefits of our students. So we did that. And as for the next semester, all the lecture classes are supposed to be done online, but then it's difficult to. Well, the university policy came out that all the online lecture classes be done online, and practicum classes and labs and ensembles like that can be hybrid, blended between online and in person. But then it's difficult to get the students to come to the campus on only certain days, and then the rest of the week stay home and study online in other classes. So what happened in reality is that some students in the class would have to come to campus for other class, like lessons, and then part of them would be home taking online classes in other classes, and then they would come together for your class. So how we did it at the Department of Music Education, we did like hybrid in that we would conduct classes in person, big space, and then we would do online with students at home as well. So it will be like a computer, Zoom screen
Mobile phone.
on, yeah, and then, you know, so it's like, oh, students here, and then students at home, stuff like that, and it's a lot of fun. It's yeah. So we do both platforms in reality.
Wow. So adventurous class.
It's a
How
lot
about
of fun.
in Singapore? You have to teach online as well, right?
I'm quite lucky in the sense that my classes are done in person because it's more practicum. So I teach conducting and also ensemble. We have stopped ensemble, and I think ensembles will be restarting next week. And so I'm very, very excited. Well, real life ensemble. So I'm very excited about that. But I know some of my colleagues, they do have to do this hybrid of, you know, having half the class there and half the class kind of zooming in from their various countries. One challenge we have in Singapore is that we have quite an international body of students. So actually some of the students weren't able to come back this semester. And so they had to do a lot of their classes from the countries that they are. And so this was a solution for some of the maybe theory or history class to do both, having some of the local students who are here or some of the foreign students who came to Singapore be in physically in the class, and then at the same time streaming that class online as well. I cannot imagine the difficulty in that because it must be really quite challenging to do that. Yeah, so I guess I'm quite lucky. I didn't have to deal with that, but I'm just hearing about what Dr. Pawasu was talking about, the benefits of, you know, of really innovative use of technology on how one person can record, and, you know, doing these kind of really progressive ideas. That's something that we would love to explore more.
Yeah. Ajahn Nipat, hello. Can you still there?
Yes.
The wind band, the wind class, how is it?
Oh,
Is it
for the
return to the normal, you know, blowing thing without marks?
oh no, we still using
Or you still
masks.
have to use marks
Yes,
with the
yes,
blowing?
yeah, and the precaution for the student before they get into the rehearsal room, and then we check, we always check, we use our QR code, our personal QR code instead of Taichana. We create our QR code to check the student check in, check out, and we still use the mask because some of students have to commute between their home and the university by public transportation. So we have to be aware of those students. And the student is very, very honest when we ask them, please report as soon as possible. As soon as you feel uncomfortable or you feel you're not feeling well, you have to inform us, and we will proceed those precautions for to protect the pandemic happening.
And as a teacher, you have to learn to, you know, adapt all of these things before
Yes,
the training of.
yes, absolutely. It's kind of pro and con. We have learned, and we have to integrate all of knowledge to run our class, to run our ensemble without any obstacle. Because if we stop practicing, the student, some student, for example, the percussionist, they have no instrument to practice at home, or the majority of Kasetsart University students are staying at dormitory, I mean off-campus dormitory. They cannot practice at the dorm, so they have to come. So we have to kind of decide the precaution process for them. Yeah.
All right. อาจารย์อโนไทยครับ we have about 15 minutes right for the question from the audience. Uh, I see the number of audience here, but how to get the question bring
They can
into this room.
actually
How do you
type
run
in.
that?
But they can actually type in questions and QA in a, down there, and you can ask questions and we can answer it. But so far, they've been very attentive and not much of the questions. I see some of our friends here. We have Maestro Hyung with us.
Oh.
And a few people, and then some of our students and students from another schools. So, would any of you guys would like to
Yes,
share with us a
feel
little
free
bit?
to probably share your experience or ask something from our attendees. Yes, Ajahn Pawasut raised her hand. No. Ajahn, I hear nothing from your side. You want to say something, Pawasut?
No, I was checking with Anotai because we are in the same room and,
Oh, I see. Sorry.
and the echoes and, sharing the mics and speakers and things.
Okay. Probably you three of you can share your best memory of running the virtual program in music to our audience. The best memory. I don't want to ask your bad memory or your suffer, because we all understand that running live program like this, a lot of headaches come, and you have to spend most of the time in nightmare, preparing everything. I think we should get some positive energy from all of you. Probably start from Dr. Boon Hua Liang, please.
Sure. I think that the best memory was just the whole process of learning how to do this. And this is a completely new skill that I would not have acquired if, this didn't happen 6 months ago, or sorry, 4 or 5 months ago. And that kind of gave me the push to get this on. And actually, I would like to pose a question to all the panelists and also kind of the people attending. What were some of your favorite online things that you watched? Because I think that's a learning to me, and trying to figure out what it is that captures your attention. It could be music, it could be something else, but I'm just very curious about what are all these online events that you were particularly interested in.
Right. How about Ajahn Pawasut? Your best memory of your program?
Actually, there's something similar to Dr. Boon Hua Liang just said, that actually I was just having this conversation before with Paradis, our admin, that we have to thank the time of COVID, because it pushes us away from our comfort zone. I wouldn't have found myself doing this if it wasn't for COVID. So the new skill set that we learned, and that's like priceless. And as for the show itself, I think I love all the shows. I had fun with the guests, and maybe that too, because they're my friends, my seniors, my juniors, my former students, and it was wonderful to reconnect with them on this show and learn what they have done in the past, between last time that I met them in person until this time that I met them online. So there are a lot to learn from their experience there and their expertise and everything. And I think that's the most valuable thing that I can take home with from doing this show.
Ajahn Nipat, please.
Yes, sir. the pandemics make me from the virtual thing. I have learned that the it's made me the most happiest is make the university knows the significance of online, make them invest more about the equipment, uh, better platform. Because I have ever tried to convince them to do the live concert, just like my alma mater back in the US, University of North Texas, they always do the live streaming concert with very good quality sound and on the internet. So I try to convince the university now. They realize that this is the way that we have to invest to the equipment for the future. And then I realized that this skill, skills of using the online classroom or communication through online is very important. Like our generation have to learn how to use the computer, like or the generation before us learn how to use the computer. That I think it's very, very necessary thing for the next generation to integrate it, the technology for their life.
Okay, thank you so much. อาจารย์อโนไทยอยู่10 yes อาจารย์ภาวสุทธิ์ yes.
Sorry, can we go back to Dr. Boon's question about like the most favorite online show? Yeah, there's this. I was mentioning this society before in Bandung Choral Society in Indonesia. They're very active in organizing choral festivals, and I think they have the biggest choir competition in Southeast Asia every year. I was supposed to be one of their educators in this summer, but then it didn't happen because Indonesia got hit by COVID pretty badly. So it was a brave move that they moved everything online, and then they adjusted from like real singing, they adjusted it to virtual singing. So all this choir, they have to put together virtual choir, and then they send in the videos. Some of them just blew my mind. So like so amazing how they can do this, because if we talk about virtual choir, we would see grids, right? Faces in grids.
Like
but then
pixel.
yeah, but this is so creative, so like out of the world. So you have to check them out on YouTube. And then they was doing this, would have friendship concert, they would have competition, they would have everything that they would in person, right, in the regular festival. And then they have like prize award announcement and everything too. It was the way that they did. There were hiccups, as always. Because they were trying to use OBS to show conversations, interviews, and also the videos. Sometimes things didn't go quite right, but then by the end of the festival, it's like a 1-week festival. They nailed it. And it was very complicated, but considering amount of work that they put in, and their determination to get the music going, I think that was the most impressive thing that I've seen this year.
Thank you. Ajahn Anotai, you write to me that you have some question to ask or to share, please.
So maybe we're getting that. Okay. At least we learned from running this symposium that Zoom doesn't allow us to be in the same space. So hence kind of like it's another kind of lockdown digitally, that we can't be in the same space. So
you need a headphone. You can be in the same room, but you need a headphone.
Yes, or we have another system, but it's possibly too early for this morning to work. Thank you. So my questions would be that, do you think, like, giving from this kind of like virtual realities that we are dealing with now, do you think that this community, when you mentioned that there are lots of people watching, there are a lot of views, and you can reach more people outside your normal circles. Do you think that this virtual community will ever grow to be a real community of audience or real community of musicians after this?
Anyone want to share? Anyone want to answer? Please.
Maybe just one thing that I was in Dr. Fowler's program yesterday, so maybe just some the answers to my own questions. Without this situation and without us that Dr. Fowler kind of invite me into the program, we would normally talk about food, how are you, and all those kind of things. We would never discuss like seriously about music or ideas or those kind of things. So in some way, for me, this connected us better. And I can see that there's going to be future collaborations and future exchanges growing out of this. So maybe that's the answer to my own questions. Anyone would like to share?
Yeah. May I have some? For my point of view, it could be the future. I mean, longer than this. But the COVID-19 is the catalyst of this process. Yeah, they make the virtual community come into our life faster than it should be, in my opinion.
I guess from my experience, being in part of some of these Facebook groups or maybe Zoom meetings, I think what usually happens is, at the beginning there was this kind of fervor, everybody's really getting on it, and then after a few months things kind of plateau a little bit. But that to me it's not a problem, because I think when the lockdown is eventually what's the word, when there's no lockdown anymore, people's life kind of go back to normal. But I think the time we had together as a virtual community, I think that's very valuable, and that is definitely an outlet that is possible to explore in the future. Although I think the attention, people's attention online and versus the real world, I think that's a very difficult balance. And so I'm not trying to paint a rosy picture that this might always be a great conclusion, but I think we had that before, and that's a good place to start building.
Okay, as for me, during the past few months, I have been to America like 3 or 4 times, twice in Philippines, many times in Malaysia, and a few times in Indonesia. So I have been around a lot. And that means today, Dr. Boon might have had to, if there was not COVID, you would have had to, fly in, check yourself into a hotel, and find your way to this place, TGVM. And then I think this virtual community makes the world even smaller. And we're able to be like omnipresent. We can be anywhere at any time. And that, I think that it removes all the boundaries that we had before. And by that, it brings us closer. And now after this time of COVID, I think what we can do is, we keep the advantages that we can have from this virtual community, and then we add that, we use that to enhance the real community that we have, so we can have best of both worlds.
Right. Any more question from Ajahn Anothai? No. Probably because I see the time that we have only 1 minute to close the question before or the session before you turn to another program. Probably we give our last thought or last words to our audience, our member of the symposium before we say goodbye. I invite Dr. Boon Hua Lien first.
Okay. I guess for me, it's a very exciting time ahead, because
it's 13 hours.
It's a time where where the handphone is such a powerful machine, and it's a real democratization of creativity. Everybody can put their voice, their message, what they want to say online, and you can reach so many people. So I think it's very exciting, especially for the young people listening out there, that you have a unique voice, and you have the medium to get that out. So I'm really looking forward to seeing more content.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Pawasut,
having
please.
me.
Whenever I had a chance, I would quote this person. He's actually Singaporean, but he has his business, like big empire or something in Myanmar. His name is Search Pun. And he said that, he said, sometimes people say that we are all in the storm together, but the way he sees it is, no, we are in the same storm, but in our different boats. So it depends on how we carry ourselves and how we maneuver our own boat to get out of this. So when we come out on the other side, what will determine the result whenever this COVID time pandemic is done, what determines us then is how we carry ourselves now. So try to stay connected with your friends and colleagues, because this will, like Dr. Anutai said last night about the symposium, that 3 days of the symposium keeps her energized for the rest of the year till the next symposium. And that's the same thing, because we need to stay connected with our friends. We need to be connected with them just to refresh ourselves and, refuel ourselves in what we do and keep the energy up. Just so when we come out on the other side after this pandemic is over, we are a better person. We are better musicians. We are better educators, and learn from this, and don't forget what we learned during this time.
Thank you so much. Nipat, you will be the last.
Yes.
person.
Okay, thank you. I think we have to keep our eyes carefully on the virtual world, because we have to make a very well balance between the virtual life and the real life, because in the near future, as a teacher, as a music educator, we have to teach our students to be aware of what we have done before the virtual world approach our life. Then now, I think start from now, we have to be concerned about the balance between the virtual world and the real world. That's my last word for this conversation.
Okay, thank you so much, Nipat. Actually, I have much to say. In fact, if I not assigned as a host of this, I mean, my experience as an ethnomusicologist who collect sound from both, digital ecosystem world and then the street, where our students, our people still fight with the Thai government, and I found that even the COVID, people still dare to sing, dare to talk and send their message, their voice to the world outside. And what I could facilitate them from the online people. My streaming probably different from Dr. Bun Hua Lieng or Dr. Pawasut or Dr. Nipat, but I just promote that not directly, but we still have our hope, the student voice, the protest song, and so far in this COVID situation. But this is a parallel world to what Princess Karyaniwattana School supposed to share. Anyway, I would like to thank Ajahn Anutai and your school to curate us as an individual programmer, individual music community to get together as a virtual community, and very fortunate to share the things, even time flies, but I learned a lot from this session. So I would like to say thank you so much to Dr. Bun Hua Lieng, Dr. Pawasut Priyawongrat, and Dr. Nipat Kanchanahut.
Anytime
ขอบคุณครับ
ขอบคุณครับพี่น้อง
ขอบคุณครับ
อาจารย์อนันต์สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ
If I may say just a few words at the end, so thank you to you all, and we're hoping that next time, I promise Ajahn Anand, you're not going to be the moderator, you're going to be the panelist. So and maybe for next year, we would love actually to connect with you guys, and let's see in a year time what has happened, and maybe let's discuss again on the symposium, and maybe with more people on the panel even, so that to see, so let's see you in a year time, and please share with us again. And then, so for this afternoon, just to our attendees just a little bit, so this afternoon we have more sessions of people sharing about how they maneuver their boats during these storms, and so we'll have Christoph Bishop from YST, and SSO, we will be helping to moderate the sessions. And we have Max Driver, as Ajahn Anand mentioned earlier. He will be a plenary speaker for this afternoon, and the rest will be a lot of people sharing their ideas about teaching, conducting online, teaching music for society online. So different approach from Mahidol University, from our school as well, and many different places. So please stay tuned. And if you're more into the creative side of works, you can also participate in another keynote series as well this afternoon for how different composers and artists use the ideas of networking and how to perform network performances and network concerts, so those kind of things. So please stay tuned. And we have a concert. We try to do a live concert this evening that combine ideas of Zoom, playing together, video, playing in the live space. So pray for us. That's going to be online from 7 o'clock, and you can tune in for 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock in Thailand, but 10 o'clock in Singapore, another concert from Maduro from YST. So stay tuned. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone. ขอบคุณค่ะ
Thank you. Bye bye.